All right, today's date is October 8th, 2022, and it is predicted that Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash due to a bird strike on November 3rd, exactly 11 weeks after the NFL announced an 11-game suspension for Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. And it is predicted that in the 2023 Super Bowl, which will be played on February 12th, 2023, the San Francisco 49ers and the Cleveland Browns will play each other. And it is also predicted that the San Francisco 49ers will beat the Cleveland Browns. This prediction was known before October 8th, the date of this recording. It was known, as can be seen here clearly in this time-stamped email, that it was at least known by September 20th. The date that this video was posted proves that this prediction is being made ahead of time. Videos can't be edited once they are posted, and the post date of this video is October 9th, 2022, as does this time-stamped email and forensic notes PDF document. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. Here is the email and forensic notes PDF for the prediction that Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash on November 3rd. It was known, as can be seen here clearly in this time-stamped email, that it was at least known by September 20th. At that time, the sports betting odds that the 49ers would win the Super Bowl is plus 2,000. I apologize, I did not think to capture an image of the odds to prove that until a few weeks later after the prediction was first known, and so the odds have changed slightly to plus 1,800, which means that a $100 bet will pay out $2,000. In other words, it is a long shot that the 49ers will win the Super Bowl. The current odds at the time of the writing, and probably is still similar today, no doubt. The current odds that the Cleveland Browns will be in the Super Bowl, not win the Super Bowl, but make it to the Super Bowl, in other words, win the AFC Championship, is plus 2,800. Now that was on September 20th. It's probably very similar still today. The Cleveland Browns are at presently a 2-2 record, so nothing spectacular. And so the odds were plus 2,800, which means that a $100 bet would pay out 2,800 if the Cleveland Browns simply made it to the Super Bowl. The reason why I've been looking forward to documenting this prediction as soon as possible is because the sooner the better for this prediction because of the odds. For example, if I were to have made this video in January and the Cleveland Browns and San Francisco 49ers were both in the playoffs and looking strong, this prediction wouldn't be quite the same. But this is very early in the season. This is basically at the beginning of the season, and I've just described the sports betting odds, which clearly indicate that each of these teams are long shots. And so for them to play each other, both long shots coming through with this prediction, and then on top of that, the 49ers winning the Super Bowl would be, I don't know the odds of all of that combined. Not only have I just listed the odds for each of these teams, what I am saying is that if both of them work out as predicted, the odds of that in itself would be many times higher than what I've just said. It should be clear what I've tried to explain there. That should be obvious. All right. The reason why the San Francisco 49ers will win the Super Bowl is that it will be their 6th Super Bowl win. When they win this Super Bowl, they will be then one of 3 NFL teams to have won 6 Super Bowls, which will hint at the number 666, 3 sixes, 3 teams that have won 6 Super Bowls. And the number 666 is symbolism for the Antichrist, Pope Francis. God uses the city San Francisco to hint at Pope Francis. When this prediction comes to pass, it will prove that the first Antichrist described in Bible prophecy is Pope Francis. And make no mistake, this is the reason why God has given me a voice through this prediction. Catholics especially are now warned the debate over who is the first Antichrist will absolutely be over with this prediction. It will prove that this is from God, and he is confirming that Pope Francis is the first Antichrist. And for you conservative Catholics, it is not only because of who Pope Francis is. All popes throughout all history have been lowercase a antichrists because the descended from Babylon pagan man-made religion on top of the Bible that is Catholicism is Antichrist. And God uses the city Cleveland to point to the other Antichrist, because in Bible prophecy there are two Antichrists, Barack Obama. The reason for this is that President Grover Cleveland was the only president to serve non-consecutive terms. He skipped the 23rd presidency, just as, like Barack Obama, will also serve non-consecutive terms. When he becomes president again on December 18th, 2022, which, by the way, is another prediction, and then become the Antichrist. Barack Obama, the basketball president, wore jersey number 23 when he played basketball in high school. And that's why God has used Grover Cleveland, who skipped the 23rd presidency, to hint at Barack Obama, and likewise the city Cleveland. This is also, by the way, the GOAT of basketball, one of the two disputed GOATs, greatest of all time. In the Bible, GOAT is Antichrist symbolism. LeBron James, when he played for Cleveland, and who is also, by the way, from Cleveland, and won the NBA championship for Cleveland, supposedly breaking the supposed sports curse, which is Antichrist symbolism, LeBron James wore jersey number 23. As did the other GOAT of basketball on that note, Michael Jordan, also wore jersey number 23, just like the Antichrist wore jersey number 23. The other GOAT, Michael Jordan, is from Chicago, the other city that God uses to symbolize Barack Obama, as Barack Obama is from Chicago. Hence why the Cleveland Browns, a city that symbolizes Grover Cleveland, who skipped the 23rd presidency, will play in the 2023 Super Bowl. The city Cleveland, one nickname for it is the Sixth City. At one point in American history, Cleveland was the sixth biggest city in the U.S., and it still retains this nickname today, the Sixth City. And so the 49ers will be one of three teams to win 6 Super Bowls after they beat the team that is nicknamed the Sixth City. The number 22 is symbolism for the mark of the Antichrist. The inverse of the mark of the Antichrist would have been the Tav mark described in Ezekiel chapter 9, and the Tav letter in the Hebrew alphabet is the last letter in the alphabet and the 22nd letter. The mark of the Antichrist is described in the last book of the Bible, which is the 22nd book of 22 books in the Bible that have a total of 22 chapters. Grover Cleveland, President Cleveland, who skipped the 23rd presidency, was the 22nd president. This Super Bowl will be exactly 22 weeks after the 49ers played a prophetic football game on flooded historic Soldier Field in Chicago on 9/11 in 2022. The prophetic signs involved in this are explained in another video. It is amazing, but it isn't the purview of this video to explain these signs in Chicago on the flooded field on 9/11 in 2022. If you are unfamiliar, the mark of the Antichrist is something that is described in Bible prophecy. If one takes this mark, they will go to hell. And if one doesn't take this mark, it says that they won't be able to buy or sell or participate in society. As we can see here in this connection, we have the two antichrists symbolized with the two teams and the two cities that will be playing each other in this upcoming Super Bowl. And these two antichrists that are symbolized in the Super Bowl will be exactly 22 weeks after this prophetic football game in Chicago involving the San Francisco 49ers. And the number 22 is symbolism for the mark of the antichrists, the two antichrists. What also confirms this connection is that the San Francisco 49ers played in both of these prophetic football games, the future one that is predicted and the one that occurred on 9/11, and the two teams are Cleveland and Chicago, the two cities that God uses to symbolize the second Antichrist, the Antichrist that will get his power from the first Antichrist, Pope Francis. Barack Obama was the president from 2009 until 2017. The last verse in the account of Noah's flood, the flood judgment, is Genesis 9:17, which is the verse that describes God's covenant regarding judgment of man, the rainbow. Barack Obama is the rainbow president who famously lit up the White House in rainbow colors. Barack Obama was president from 2009 until 2017, and he also first arrived in Washington, D.C. as senator in the 109th Congress. He lived on 109th Street while studying at Columbia University and will return to the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. as president during the 117th Congress, which began in January of 2021 and will end in January 2023. This 22 weeks connection in between this prophetic football game involving the 49ers on the flooded field in Chicago and this prediction for the upcoming Super Bowl, this 22 weeks is also exactly 9 times 17 days. 9 times 17 days is 153 days, which is a number of days that God uses because the number 153 is prophetic from the Bible. As in Jesus' last miracle, it was 153 fish that were caught in the net. 153 is one of the 3 unusually specific numbers in the Bible that also include 666. Historic Soldier Field was flooded on 9/11 in 2022, and San Francisco played Chicago in a prophetic football game, and these two cities symbolize the two antichrists, Pope Francis and Barack Obama, and this game was exactly 9 times 17 weeks after the San Francisco 49ers won their 49th Monday Night Football game, a nationally televised football game, against the Cleveland Browns. This game occurred in San Francisco at the same time that Northern California was experiencing massive brownouts because of the previous year's California firestorm that killed 44 people over 4 days and had red flag danger warning conditions for 44 counties, which hinted at the 44th president. Because of that, a year later, the power company wasn't taking any chances because of the lawsuits and was conducting rolling brownouts, which is when the power is intentionally shut off. Not only that, but if my memory is correct, this was the day that the brownouts were announced. It was announced on this same day as the football game against the Browns that there would be these brownouts for millions of people. And this was the day that the 49ers played the Browns. And this was exactly 9 times 17 weeks before the prophetic football game, the flooded football game in Chicago that involved the San Francisco 49ers. And 9 times 17 hints at the last verse in the flood account in the Bible, Genesis 9:17, and 9 times 17 weeks connects to the prophetic football game on the flooded historic field in Chicago. And that game again is exactly 22 weeks to the day of this Super Bowl that will be against the Browns from Cleveland, which hints at the 22nd president, and the 22 weeks also hint at 22, which is symbolism for the mark of the Antichrists. This 49th Monday Night Football win for the 49ers is more than just a fun coincidence. The number 49 is a reference to Daniel chapter 9 in the Bible, the most central prophecy in the Bible that regards the timing of the arrival of the end times and the Antichrist, and the number 49 is a part of that timing. Also, this football game in 2019, the 49th win for the 49ers, which was Antichrist symbolism that revealed Pope Francis, and for that matter Barack Obama because the game was against Cleveland, was played on the date October 7th, which is 10-7, which is a date and a number combination that God uses as Antichrist symbolism, because the goat Antichrist will be defeated on the Temple Mount at Lord Jesus' second coming on the Day of Atonement in the Hebrew calendar, and that date is 10-7, the 10th day of the 7th month in the Hebrew calendar. Also, a beast is used as a metaphor to describe the Antichrist in the book of Revelation, and this beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. This is also the reason, by the way, the GOAT of football, Tom Brady, won 7 Super Bowls in 10 Super Bowl appearances. In ancient Israel, the Jews would conduct a ritual sacrifice on the Temple Mount on the Day of Atonement using a goat. And goat is Antichrist symbolism, and this is why God uses the greatest of all time pop culture acronym as symbolism for the goat Antichrist. For this reason, the number 17 symbolizes the goat Antichrist. It symbolizes the date 10-7, the Day of Atonement, the day of the goat Antichrist being defeated on the Temple Mount. And also, as it was just mentioned in Bible prophecy, a beast is symbolism for the Antichrist, which has 7 heads and 10 horns, for which the number 17 also symbolizes. The number 17, or the 17th triangular number, which in a triangle of numbers, the last number in the 17th row is 153. And so from this date 10-7 in 2019, which is symbolism for atonement and the number 17, it is exactly 153 weeks to this prophetic flooded field game. And again, 9 times 17 weeks is 153 weeks. Another reason why this 22 weeks connection is relevant between this prediction in the upcoming Super Bowl and the flooded field game involving the Chicago Bears and San Francisco 49ers is, well, again, the number 22 is symbolism for the mark of the Antichrist, and 22 weeks is exactly 9 times 17 days, which reveals the identity of the Antichrist, Barack Obama, and also Barack Obama, who will serve non-consecutive terms, just like the 22nd president, Grover Cleveland, served non-consecutive terms, having skipped the 23rd presidency, and Barack Obama wore jersey number 23. Another reason why this connection of exactly 22 weeks is extremely relevant is because by the time that the Cleveland Browns are in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, their star quarterback will return after having been suspended for the first 11 games of the season due to 22 civil lawsuit charges of sexual misconduct with massage therapists. These charges were laid in Harris County in Texas, which is the city of Houston, and this hints at Kamala Harris, who will die in a plane crash, and through her death, Barack Obama will replace her and then become president again. The NFL announced that this quarterback, Deshaun Watson, would be suspended for 11 games, exactly 11 weeks. It was announced on August 18th, exactly 11 weeks before the day that it is predicted that Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash on November 3rd. But I intend to explain more regarding Deshaun Watson and the prophetic relevance of him in another video at a later time. To listen to the important remainder of this video, click on the link in the description box below this video. Obviously, once this prediction has come to pass, it would be foolish to not listen to the rest of this video. Therefore, click the link for the rest of this video in the description box below this video.